Hello, my name is Gloria Rodriguez, and I come from a town in Florida called Homestead, Florida. I grew up there for a really long time until I decided to make the move to Georgia. I hated the heat, and I wanted something more colder, so I came to the mountains. um, no, but honestly, I have been working for telecommunications, which is corporate America, AT&T, Cricket Wireless, for about a good 13 years. Jumped in and out through manager roles, went through the corporate ladder, and one day my back decided to say no more, Gloria, after doing CrossFit and doing a deadlift into a burpee. It decided to say pop, and I pretty much ended up messing up L5 and S1, and I had to do a hemilumpectomy. But before all that, I actually started PT for the pain, to see if that would, minimize the pain and I didn't have to go through therapy. So it's kind of where my route started, where I was like, I like this. This is where I'm supposed to be, because corporate America kind of started losing, that physical touch with people, since everything's going more virtual, chat bots and all that kind of stuff. And being in the clinic personally myself, working with my therapist, it really did make a big change in my life, where I decided to say, hey, I am out. Goodbye, corporate America. I'm going to go be a physical therapy tech and learn hands-on experience from a doctor who cares about somebody, right? Who is motivated to get them going back on their feet. Probably not 100%, because nobody's ever 100%, right? But, at least a good 90% out the door to get them back into their normal life, and teach them the skills that they need. I started working at Benchmark, I think August, if I'm not mistaken, of last year. And that really opened up a lot for me. I come from customer service side. So it's mainly like bill payments, health issues, why they couldn't make the bill payment, or, just life in general just got really hard. Never understood the back end of insurance or anything of that sort when it came to the healthcare world. But I think working in the clinic, it really showed me a lot. I've seen a lot, and it's opened a lot to my eyes to see, the underrepresentation of Hispanics and African Americans, pretty much everybody, if you think about it. I'm in North Georgia, so majority of our patients where I live are from, are Hispanic, and they come from Mexico or any other type of Latin American country or Central American country. And they work in the carpet mills, because that's what Dalton, Georgia is mainly well known for. So, coming in, I realized that the insurance is not all there. Some of them are paying out of pocket. And the ones that are using insurance or getting paid by workers' comp are not getting exactly what they need. They're not getting, somebody to interpret for them. They're not getting anybody to bring them over and drive them over. And a lot of them had to say, hey, I'm paying out of pocket. This is a lot. Can we reduce, instead of 2 to 3 times a week, can we go to 1 time a week or every other week, and I can do the the workouts at home, or like whatever you give me, so I can get better faster. I just can't afford it, and I kept on seeing that. Or many people who were in dire need of it, but insurances were giving them such tough time to even get access to anything, right? Or to even get more, it's guaranteed for more appointments with us, or like coverage, right? Or like asking 101 questions of why they're not cured in 3 weeks or 4 weeks or 6 weeks. I'm like, some of these individuals need more than that, and that was a big diversity shift and change that I've seen, and majority of the patients that we do come in are Hispanic, so they need Spanish interpreters. So I'm the one who actually helps out my PT and the PTAs and everybody else in the clinic to interpret for the patients. And I realized whenever they do come in with the people who actually interpret for them, medical ones that come in and they're brought by the the actual company or by the insurance itself, I realized they don't really understand, and they don't provide all the information needed for the therapist to be able to get as much information and feel actually connected to the actual patient. And I realized, me being there, that I gave that to the clinic, like I I can communicate. I communicate not just a way of like, hey, they said this and this. Like I'm actually like joking around just like they do, so that they can feel comfortable, be connected to the therapist itself, and to like kind of like build kind of like rapport, like family. Like they feel comfortable coming back. It's not waste of time. Like if they're just waste of space, like that's what I realized. Social injustice and the big diversity gaps within the actual system and also the insurance. I'm just like, sometimes I wonder why we even pay for it if it's not going to cover for anything, right? I think the biggest thing that I see a lot is these communities, like where I live at, like up in the mountains, there's no buses, there's no taxis. Like they have to figure out family members or friends or pay somebody, because Uber doesn't really come out here because we're in the middle of nowhere. Nobody wants to go into a mountain to come back into the city because it's a lot, it could damage your car, and at the same time it's kind of risky. So I realized that there's just not a lot of assistance to get the patient to the clinic, which causes a lot of these patients just to say, forget it, I'm not going to do it, I just feel like those are kind of the barriers that we have to kind of go through, the talking, being able to communicate, and to actually build some kind of rapport with the patient. Insurance not really helping out as much as it should, and also just the failure of like the community not giving access to patients or to people to be able to get around, right? Because like nobody can get out of their house if they don't have a bus, they don't have a bike, they don't have a ride or anything. But in all reality, I think what has really just gained my love for this is just the fact of seeing somebody walk in, not even walk in, I would say crawling half the time, right? Or in a walker or hobbling through, and them saying, I'm never gonna get okay, I've tried everything in the entire world, and I know physical therapy is not going to help, and to make that shift, that change, to show them that if you put in the work, it will work. And I think that made me not just feel, I guess I would say, fulfilled, but more in the sense that I'm doing something and I'm making a change. And that's why I decided to go this route with this career, because that's what I'm here for, to help people out.